Tonight, is work stealing our lives away? Could thalidomide victims finally get compensation? Malaysia versus Nauru, the best and worst of these potential processing centres. And Ditching the Hangover, the program aimed at changing our drinking culture. This is the 7pm Project. Hi there, welcome to the 7pm Project. Hamish McDonald is back as well as James Hughes is back as
Great to be back, and I say, Hamish, I know that you work on 6:30, you spend most of your time in Middle East hotspots dodging bullets, but I spent the last week alone with a 2-year-old in Fiji, mate, so I've been to hell, alright?
Hang on, you only had 2 days alone with him, don't get dramatic.
It felt like a week.
Now, if you want to join the conversation tonight, you can head to Facebook, Twitter, and our website. We love it when you get involved. Heaps to get through tonight. Carrie, what's making headlines?
In the news today, Monday the 27th of June, and cigarette giant Philip Morris has today launched legal action against the federal government over plans to introduce plain packaging. The government could be liable for tens of billions of dollars. The PM says she won't be intimidated.
We are very confident in our reforms, confident we can deliver them, and confident that they will make a difference to the number of people who smoke.
There's fears a clan war in Melbourne's northwest will spiral out of control following a spate of shootings. In the latest violent attack, shots were fired into a Jacana house where 2 children were sleeping.
Now, you remember Chick Chick Boom Girl? Yeah?
Yes.
Now, the media made her a star. I think the media today were trying to make a star out of this man.
What did you hear?
Bam, bam, that's the street. Shooting. Bam, bam, bam. Two or three or 4 shooting. Bam, bam, bam.
Said it 3 times.
Bob Hawke's daughter has denied slapping her stepmother Blanche Dalpuget at Brisbane Airport. It's reported the pair came to blows after Blanche referred to Bob's first wife Hazel as an ambitious gold digger in her biography. And an emperor penguin that washed up on a New Zealand beach has had its 3rd operation to remove sticks from its stomach. The bird strayed 3,000 kilometres from its Antarctic home and has been eating sand, thinking it was snow. And they've called the little penguin Happy Feet.
Now, they've actually set him up when he's not going through surgery. He has a room full of crushed ice, and they feed him like fish smoothies.
Okay.
Yeah, they feed him fish smoothies. How much better do New Zealanders treat their asylum seekers? It's amazing.
Really good. Now, Hamish, you spent a lot of time in Egypt, yeah?
Indeed,
Yeah. Have you ever been cage fighting with a lion? No, well, you haven't been trying hard enough, mate. This is an actual story. This guy is fighting a lion in a cage. So the lion not too interested, can't really be bothered with this dude. Let's have a look, lion's going, yeah, the guy gets really cocky. Oh, yeah, I'm going to watch what happens here. Yeah. And then it's all over, basically. So, got an applause, that dude.
Some more news now, and a global action has been launched for compensation for the victims of the devastating drug thalidomide. 1954, post-war Germany, and a new drug is patented. Thalidomide, a sedative used for everything from asthma, headaches and morning sickness, would soon be sold in 46 countries and less than a decade later become the world's worst medical disaster. It's alleged Grunenthal, the German company that developed the drug, failed to adequately test thalidomide and incorrectly assured doctors and the public it was safe for pregnant women. As a result, an estimated more than 10,000 children across the world, including here in Australia, were born with debilitating deformities. Lynette Rowe was one of those victims. Born without arms or legs, she's been cared for by her parents for 49 years.
We dread a little bit more each year the prospect of what Lynette will do, because we are no longer able to look after her.
And now it's time, victims say, for compensation, with class actions being launched across the globe. So why has it taken so long for the children of thalidomide to seek justice? And how did such a dangerous drug ever make it to the market in the first place? Heading up this cause is renowned lawyer Peter Gordon. Peter, this isn't the first time people have sued for thalidomide, but why has it taken so long for people like Lynn to seek compensation?
There's no end to the reasons why people didn't make any connection between their thalidomide claims until now. Sometimes their mums didn't understand that what they were taking was a thalidomide drug. It wasn't marketed under the name thalidomide. It came in a variety of different brand names. Often the mothers took it as a sleeping tablet or as an anti-anxiety pill or something like that, and they therefore thought, well, I didn't take it for morning sickness, so it couldn't have been thalidomide. Sometimes the doctors at the time told them, well, because you've only got one arm missing instead of two arms missing, that's not a thalidomide injury. The modern medicine of the 20th century now tells us, or the 21st century I should say, now tells us that those weren't good reasons to exclude those people at all.
But just how great has the impact of this drug been?
Well, at the time that it was pulled from Australia, that is to say, at the time that they stopped selling it, there were 8 million thalidomide pills in Australia, which I think is probably more thalidomide pills than there were people in Australia. It was a very, very widely distributed drug at the time, and we are increasingly convinced that the number of people born in that period affected by it has been a lot greater than we previously understood.
Peter, in the case of Lynette Rose, she's 49. Her parents who care for her 24/7 are getting older. If she doesn't get this compensation, what hope does she have going forward?
Well, let's be clear that, like many disabled Australians, her future is very bleak indeed. And over and above this whole thalidomide injury question, the question of care for disabled Australians is one that we all need to take more notice of. But Wendy and Anne Rowe, heroic people, some of the most inspirational people I've ever met. Wendy, I can tell you, gets up and goes to the gym 3 times a week so that she maintains the upper body strength to be able to look after Lynette as she has, getting up 3 times a night, every night for the last 49 years to turn her over and to look after her. They're amazing people.
Peter, the Australian government wasn't at the time preventing this drug from being sold here. So why are you taking on Grunenthal, the drug company, rather than the Australian government?
Well, let me say, because the evidence that we've been uncovering in dusty warehouses in and around Europe over the last 12 months tells us that despite the publicity and despite the spin that's been applied to this very, very famous iconic disaster of the 20th century, this company actually knew a lot more about the side effects of this drug than anyone else, governments included. We want a searching examination of this company. We want to know exactly what sort of information it was getting from all of its licensees and all of the government regulatory authorities from all over the world. We think that it knew more than the Australian government, more than the American government, and those are the questions we want to test.
I really hope all these families do get their compensation, Peter. Thanks for talking to us tonight.
It's my pleasure.
One of the really interesting things, talking to Peter before we came on tonight, he was saying that actually thalidomide was the case that prompted many countries, including Australia, to increase drug regulation. So all the checks being in place before you allow the drug on.
It's amazing though, I was reading all about Lynn's family on the weekend. They are truly inspirational. When Lynn was born and Wendy was handed her, Lynn had no arms, no legs, and the doctor said, you know what, you might as well just put her in a home because she's not going to live out 6 months. And instead Wendy said, no, we're just going to have to look after her very carefully then, aren't we? And they've continued to care for her for 49 years. And with such humour in the face of adversity, Lynnie the other day was out the front of a supermarket. She was waiting to go to the toilet and a toddler walked past with her mum. The mother quickly covered the toddler's eyes and ran off with her, shielded her from seeing Lynnie, and Lynnie called out, you know, don't worry, you can't catch it, you know. The fact that they can laugh in the face of such adversity is truly incredible.
Well, hopefully there is new information. Hopefully it is a successful case people like Lynnie can get from that. So we're going to take a break. We'll be back with more.